Patagonia's west coast, one of the last true wilderness areas on Earth, a labyrinth of fjords, forest, and glaciers. Where the Andes crumble into the Pacific, there are no roads here, just wind, rain, and the raw pulse of nature, a place that captures one's imagination for adventure. And after a year of planning, 3 kayakers set out onto this vast and rugged coastline on a trip of a lifetime. Our team is 2 Kiwis, Brody Ducan and Matthew Schweitzer, and 1 Scotsman, Andy Gill. Our journey would start with a 3-day ferry ride from Puerto Natales to Puerto Eden, a remote fishing village that is cut off from the rest of Chile, only accessible by boat. We would then embark on a trip of a lifetime, paddling south 850 kilometers back to where we started.
We just landed in Puerto Eden, just got to the boat for 3 days on the boat, and we just unloaded our kayaks off the boat. Just going to find a Navy officer and inspect our gear, and hopefully we can get underway this afternoon. I think it's going well. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, so this is day 1. We just left Puerto Natales after an inspection, and with heavy kayaks we head south. Pretty excited, pretty nervous, but the weather forecast is looking good. Everything's looking sweet as. We're stoked.
So we've just entered this really thick mist, around 20 kilometers into day 2. It's quite eerie knowing somewhere up here lies South America's biggest glacier, Pioonce. Quite a lot of fog around, but still nice and sunny. So the mist has just cleared, and we've just got our first view up to Pioonce, right at the back. Still a long way off, but that's how we're going to try and finish today, opposite that big glacier.
So yeah, we've just slogged about 45 odd kilometers up a big fjord. We're pretty knackered, bodies are pretty sore, but it was all for a pretty cool reason. This big glacier out here, I think it's one of the largest in South America, if not the largest, and we got it all to ourselves on this purler of a day. It's about 5:30ish. It's now time to find a camp, some water, and get to cooking some food. Looking good, Brody.
Yeah, boy.
1, 2, 3.
We are just approaching Pioonce. We're still a very long way away. This thing is massive. It's so cool.
day 5 or 6, and we're heading south, away from Fjords, hopefully into another fjord, or the entrance at least this morning or this afternoon. As the high tide came in, it dropped a whole lot of ice on our beach. So it's a bit precarious getting over this stuff, but it makes for a fun morning.
So we are just starting day 6. We've retraced our steps back down from Fjords, and now we're going to try and paddle up this fjord up this way and see how far we get, and hopefully the ice plays ball and we can paddle all the way to the top, but who knows.
Pushing up into this fjord, we hit sort of a point where we couldn't go any further. As you can see, there's plenty of ice around, and the risk was just a bit too high. With any changes in winds, there's a good chance of getting trapped. So we've decided to turn around and head back to our camp where we stayed last night. It's a little bit disappointing because the fjord further down looked pretty epic, but it's been a cool paddle this morning anyways, bashing through ice. It's quite clear here where I'm sitting now, but further down the fjord was pretty damn thick. Another good day. Tomorrow we'll plan to head south and get some true miles underneath us. We've had the last couple days or last week or so exploring these fjords around Puerto Eden. Some of these glaciers are pretty cool. But now to get some true miles under our belt and head south.
So today is day 8, and we've chosen to explore a new fjord. We're originally going to skip this one out, but we've got such a good day visibility wise. You can see all the way to the back, the mountains and the glaciers, and we're going to try and see how far we get up this one. We've had northerly winds for a few days, so it looks like all the ice has kind of been blown to the opposite side of the fjord. And we're forecast for these winds to continue for kind of another few days. So we're hoping to maybe get up this one and camp, have a bit of an explore, and then hopefully be able to paddle back down without being trapped, which was our fear with the previous fjord. But we'll see how things go.
Right, it's day 10. Yesterday we decided to push into Penguin Fjord. Camped about 15 kilometres in. We reckon we can get about another 10 kilometres. Maybe there's a potential camp in there for us. Otherwise, it's a bit of a slog back out of the fjord to the entrance again. We'll sort of see how we go. We've got plenty of days to spare. It's pretty fun paddling amongst the ice, but the thick sections do get a little tedious, a little slow.
estoy creyendo voy, y si no hay luz prendo la vela, siempre y cuando tenga tu candela, lo que me hace quien soy.
So yeah, we paddled in a good 7-8k further into the fjord. Again, the ice is just a bit thick and we don't want a massive day at the end of the day, so we've decided to turn around. Saw some pretty cool ice. Andy paddled up to a pretty cool bulletproof bright blue piece of ice, which is awesome. Yeah, the ice got pretty thick and pretty big down further in the fjord there. Got a bit of wind blowing out some of these valleys, affecting the ice too. Yeah, we're going to make our way back towards the entrance of the fjord. Tomorrow will be a paddle south. We're about more or less 3 days away from our first portage, paddle on some fresh water. But morale's pretty high. Everyone's enjoying paddling amongst the ice, but it does make for slow paddling, but it's pretty cool. We're pretty lucky with the weather. Today's probably been our worst weather and we haven't seen much more than sort of 10 knots really, so that's great. And not much rain, just little drizzles here and there, high cloud, still see the tops of the mountains, which is pretty cool. See the other side of the fjord. Makes for awesome paddling, and we've been pretty lucky, really lucky. Trying to get water out here can be a little tricky sometimes. Andy's pretty good at it.
So it's straight down this canal, around 16 kilometers, and then we hit our portage. So it's really not a bad day to be paddling.
So we've just turned into the fjord that links up our portage. Saw a bunch of penguins this morning, maybe 12 or so, all calling to each other, all swimming together in a group, which is quite cool. My mat's still deflating, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. I had 2 nights total of this whole trip so far that my mat hasn't deflated. Deflated before that, and it's deflating again. So a little frustrating. I can't find the leak. I'm going to have another go at it tonight, see if I can make any difference with that. That's my only struggle on this trip so far, is my deflating mat, which with every night it gets more and more frustrating. At the beginning it was a little comical, and now it's just uncomfortable. Yeah, it is getting a little tiresome having to blow it up a couple of times during the night, but can't really complain on days like today. Yeah, so we're finally at our portage. and we think we've found a little route. We're going to go for an explore this afternoon and see what's our best sort of approach and maybe tackle it tomorrow morning. It's about 4:30 now. See how we go. Woohoo! So we just climbed to the top of this wee hill here. It overlooks our portage. We walked some of our portage and it's pretty crap. It's pretty crap. It's going to be hard work, but the nice thing is that we have a drone and just flew it from the top of this hill, and we found a better way, which is awesome. So we're going to tackle that tomorrow. We're going to camp where we've parked our boats. So yeah, we've just unpacked our boats, and we're heading up with all of our gear up this hill and doing it a few times each, and then the kayaks. Bit of a big day today.
Embrace the bottom. Embrace it. It's all in the mind.
Last little challenge of the portage is lowering the kayaks bit by bit down the steep bank to this lake, and this connects all the way to another fjord system. Just crossed the first lake, and we are starting our second portage of the day, just up and over there. So I think it's only about 170-200 meters, and then that lake should connect to the fjord by a small river. Hopefully we can paddle down it. We might make camp or something close to there. It's been a fairly smooth day considering pretty rough terrain. We've had a nice tailwind all the way down this lake, so it's been helpful. Woohoo!
Oh, it's big.
So yeah, we're just finishing the last bit of the series of portages, that last lake. Supposed to have a nice river for us to paddle down, which wasn't the case. The lake's super low, so we had to take it down all this crap for about 100 meters, and looks like we can paddle smoothly to the fjord, back to the coast from here, hopefully find camp. I think it's about 4:30. No, good day. Good day. The big reason why we chose this route is because of the prevailing winds. We get these nice big northerlies, making our days a lot easier. Sometimes get a little bit of a surf in there, which is quite nice. Pretty fun paddling.
Well, we've had a pretty rough last 3-4 days. So about 4 days ago we had a bit of a storm come through, probably reaching up to 40-50 knots at some stage. Some pretty decent waves, pretty spicy out there in the middle. Swazi thought it'd be a good idea to get some good shots off some rocks. That ended in a bit of catastrophe. The wave kind of knocked him out of his kayak as he was getting out. There's a bit of carnage there, but he's alright, and so is the gear, so that's all good. So that's all that matters really. Apart from that, we've just had a really wet and moist last few days. My sleeping bag is currently absolutely saturated, so we're spending the day, well this morning, off the water. A little bit of sunshine, trying to dry basically everything out. And our tarp over here, had a bit of a fun time yesterday morning as well. A big gust came through and basically just ripped it in half. So we'll see if we can do some repairs on that today as well. But yeah, been a very tough and challenging last few days, which has been good. It's been too easy so far.
We've been making our way up Gill Fjord today, and it's just one big cold wet jungle. It just hasn't really stopped raining all day, but we're getting some really sick waterfalls coming down, which is nice to see. But yeah, hopefully it clears at some point, because it's all very white at the moment. Not really much to look at. Very soggy. So it's day 2 in Gill Fjord. The dreariness continues, but we've just seen a little bit of hope in the sky. So let's see what happens. Maybe we're going to get some brightness later today. Let's see how things go. We're going to be spending around 6 days in this fjord, so at some point we should hopefully see the mountains and some of those glaciers. So we're spending today kind of pushing to the top of Gill Fjord. Be around 30 kilometres a day, but things have started to dry up nicely. See some of the glaciers at the back. There's a big rainbow forming, which is cool. Yeah, about 20k per day to go, and hopefully there's a cool campsite waiting for us at the top.
Yeah, so I think it's day 17. Today we've reached our halfway mark of the trip, which is pretty cool, and we've reached or just about the top of Gill Fjord, and we've seen about 3 or 4 glaciers today, big tongues of ice rolling down some of the valleys, and plenty of ice around. At the top of Gill Fjord, it turns to the right and there's a really narrow section. And we suspect it's going to be full of ice. So we want to try and push through it, but if it's full of ice, then we'll have to find a camp elsewhere. So super currenty in here. The ice is flying pretty fast on the ebb, and on the other side of this narrow section, there's just huge pieces of ice just getting smashed against the bank and smashed against each other, making a big old noise. Quite fast flowing, but super cool. We just seen around the corner, we can see a whole bunch of glaciers coming down. Looks pretty epic. The boys there.
Made it to the end of Gill Fjord. Pretty rough day. Started off pretty windy, pretty wet, same as the last kind of 4 or 5 days. Wind from all directions, which is pretty confusing to paddle against and with. The hard work was definitely worth it, because we're in probably one of the most beautiful spots I've ever seen in my life.
Sweet guys, halfway.
Halfway? Sure. 420 kilometres. Woohoo!
Well awaited. We just spent a few hours hanging out on some rocks just in front of this big glacier at the top end of Andrew. Probably for all three of us it's been one of the top three, if not the top highlight of the trip so far, and we are pretty stoked to be here. We're just leaving our top campsite in Sino Andrew and Peel Fjord. From here on it's just paddling straight down towards Puerto Natales. We're about 15 days away from finishing the trip. It's quite exciting but kind of sad at the same time. A pretty awesome time up here. The weather's cleared for us after 4 or 5 days of really crap weather. Managed to dry things, see some views, see some mountains, all downhill from here.
So we're approaching the narrow section on the way out of the fjord, and this is where all the ice was kind of getting slammed together, making almost like a blockade. We've still got a bit of a flood tide with us, so we're having an ebb tide with us, so we're still getting a nice ride out, but hopefully we'll be able to pick a safe passage through and we won't end up becoming part of an ice dam. Let's find out. We can see exactly what we've been missing on day one. All of that amazing kind of like ice cap at the back.
So another retreat from the eastern side of Peel Fjord. Again, just too much ice. It's about another 15k to the back end of the fjord and it's just chocker full. We barely made it to the entrance. So, but no, all good. We had a pretty chill morning. Hopefully fixed the final hole in my mat. Got 7 now, so we'll see. It's part of the trip where we go for a swim. Yeah, so that's what I'm about to do now. Let's hop in that freezing cold
And here we have a wild Kayaked native in his natural environment. Look how he cradles his balls as he tries to keep warm by the fire. He's just trying to find a seal for some seal fat to keep himself warm, but sadly to no prevail.
this is probably the last glacier we'll see or get close to on this trip. We're in the southern end of Gill Fjord, headed through a heap of fog and ice this morning, and about 5k up into this little fjord here, little prong that peels off away from Peel, and this is it. Cool. So it's come to the time of day where we try to find a camp, and it's pretty hard finding camps out here. A lot of it is grass, looks nice from a distance, but it does flood in high tides. You can see sort of the tide line where it's all flattened, and then you get above the high tide line and it's all nice and flat, but it's all bog, and that's what we camp on. So we got a little bit of a problem. Yesterday we took a day off just because I have some little wounds in my hands that are not looking too good, so we thought a day, letting them dry out and heal a little bit would be good. This morning they haven't really done much improvement. In fact, they kind of look a little worse. We'll show you now how that looks like. You can see looks pretty nasty. Another one on my hand there. They're kind of gone from blister to like yellow blister, and then to that to this. So just stopped for lunch. This is what I'm using today to try and keep these nasty sores on the backs of my hand dry, and so hopefully it comes right, otherwise it's going to be a boost back to Puerto Natales, worst case scenario, waving a boat down, and maybe getting them to haul us back, because the worst thing would be a bad infection out here.
So we started our journey south today after Peel Fjord, paddled about 30 kilometres. The wind's been behind us all day, made things pretty cruisy. It's been a good day overall. Finding campsites has gotten a bit more difficult. Things just seem to be a lot more overgrown or swamped, but occasionally you just find an absolute banger of a campsite, which is what we've got here. You know, white sand beaches, surrounded by the sea. Really, really, really cool spot.
So yeah, spirits are pretty low, my hand's pretty sore, my mat has just got to number 10, 10th hole in it. Yeah, so overall my well-being is kind of low at the moment, but it's really hard to stay negative on on days like today with the sun shining and an opportunity to paddle some really pristine coastline, and you just really can't let yourself get to that point of feeling a little bit destroyed, a little bit beaten, and to be honest, that's really why we've come out here, is to be challenged and to be presented with tough times and push through it. Sun's out, blue sky, flat water, dolphins this morning, otters in the water around camp, kingfishers swooping from the trees getting fish. Pretty cool. No, can't really complain too much.
Glimpse of what we're aiming for the next few days. It's Monte Berni, right at the back, down this way. It'll take us around 2 days to get to it, then we start to curve left round to Natales. So far so good. Good day, see the mountains, bit of wind but not much. Maybe our last good day of the trip, who knows.
So Andy's playing with some dolphins over there. Wow, they're jumping all around him.
Cool, so this is as far south as we're going to go on this journey. Monte Berni, that volcano is behind me somewhere in the mist. And now we've turned the final corner and we're heading northeast back towards Natales, which is exciting. It's about 60 or 70 kilometers of paddling to go. So we're going to do it over three days or so. But yeah, that's a big milestone for us. All that southern section's done. Now it's time to head home.
day 30 today, and we're paddling through sort of a little bit of a crux section, bit of tide. Hopefully we've planned it right and the tide is with us, but we had a bit of a later start because it's pretty crappy weather at the moment. It's miserable out here. We're almost there and the weather gets gross.
So it's day 31. We've got a final 2 days of paddling and then we're back in Puerto Natales, which is exciting. This is our campsite in a nice wet forest, or at least it was pretty wet last night. Usually these forests are too overgrown to camp in, but this one's actually quite clear. Just watching the sunrise come up over Natales, which is somewhere back there at the back. Today we're going to be paddling along this coastline, beyond the back of that fish farm to the hillside at the back. We've got a big kind of 10-15 kilometre crossing. And then the final day tomorrow, we're going to be heading all the way around here, around the corner to Natales, which is somewhere back here behind that sunrise.
Day 31, my mat is still deflating at 15-ish holes. I think I've kind of given up now that we're so close, so there could be more than 15 holes. I don't know, I've patched 15 holes on my mat. Just sounds ridiculous, but yeah, it's a bit of a pain. I've lived with it, it's not too bad.
So we've just finished our 15 kilometre crossing. You know, not a super long one, but we're definitely feeling it today, probably because it's coming to the end of the trip. Just crossed over from those mountains at the back, and we've headed over. Luckily the wind has totally dropped off, made things a bit easier to finish, and we're just camping over on this bit of land. Oh, quite a few horses, and this is going to be our final campsite for our trip before heading back to Natales tomorrow. And it's around 18 kilometers tomorrow back home, which is exciting. Let's go.
Our welcoming party looks a bit different, but early as well, day early.
So yeah, we are just finishing up the last little one-day crossing up Natales, and we're done. I was pretty excited to get some beers to celebrate.
Woohoo!